Ladies and gentlemen, we are live in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all music and all wrestling matters. And tonight is almost going to be a trivia question because tonight is the first show that yours truly has taken something off. No, I'm not taking my shirt off. No, I haven't shaved the mutton chops or my hair, but I'll explain in a few minutes and I'll show my hand and I might give you some proof. But this man has got plenty to talk about. He's going to talk about what's ahead here this weekend. Arguably the biggest match of his career. We're going to go down memory lane and unfortunately remind him of what one of those opponents did to him in a match last month. Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll also get into some wrestling trivia. Yeah, we're going to definitely talk about maybe some places where he's once again a number one contender to a championship held by a birthday boy who's the last guy to pin a WWE wrestler who's a champion. Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll also talk about a show next month that some guy for a few minutes spent time on Monday that's not going to be at but still wants him to keep that belt warm. And then maybe there'll be a guy who's going to be announced coming on here in a few weeks who says he's going to be there. Yeah, we'll get into all of that. Plus, who knows whatever else. And certainly in his own way, maybe give you a birthday wish to that certain someone. Boy, I'm excited about this. You should be too. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show off here in style on Sportzwire Radio, the number one global radio station where all music and all wrestling matters. So, with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one cable sports show. A man who is certainly living in a Attitude Era. Oh, heck yeah! He's the reigning, defending GBYWN champion, the Mac Pro Wrestling Grand Champion, and the number one contender to the TF Crew Legendary YouTube Championship. His name is simply put, Done. The champ is here. Oh, heck yeah, my friend. How are we doing?
I gotta tell you, Bryce, I was watching WrestleMania 8. No, WrestleMania 7 just yesterday. Don't ask why, but the point is, Bobby Heenan had a great line that you've just reminded me of. He said, "This guy's got so much energy, he makes coffee nervous." And that is you to a fault, my friend. You bring the energy every single time. And how are we doing on a Friday night? Sportswire Radio, my home on all podcasting platforms.
I think the only one that does a good, I'm going to say it, I think the only one that does an entertaining job, leave aside yours truly when you get interviewed. I get it. You do the circuit. I had Joey Knight Jr. a few days ago, an indie wrestler who does the podcast circuit like you do. And I think it's the only one I'm entertained in.
Hey, there you go. There you go. Listen, there's a reason people keep watching. There's a reason people keep checking in on me. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, you always get asked. I mean, every time I go on the air, people always ask about you, and you are here, and I realize It's
Just a
the T.
guy.
By the way, I did see your mannerism. I know it's the TF Crew YouTube Championship, not the legendary YouTube Championship.
It's a legendary title. It's just
But I
not
was
the
actually going to say, I kind of did throw that in there for a reason because it is legendary, and I'll tell you why. Because there's a guy who's got a birthday, and I'll certainly, I'm sure, remind you or not so remind
yes.
you of that birthday. But boy, there is a lot to talk about here tonight. And I am excited as you are. And yeah, I don't need coffee to be excited when Rad Dad is here. And we have a lot to talk about. And I'm getting right into it. And especially for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where you get a good interview each time you show up for Sportzwire Radio. Talk to me about what's ahead this Sunday where you put up that Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Championship and arguably your toughest defense yet.
I mean, this is without a doubt, and this is not hyperbole. This is not me trying to sell a ticket. This is as real as it gets. This Sunday, April 12th at Matt Pro Wrestling's Double Vision event. The main event is the biggest match in Matt Pro Wrestling's 2-year history. The main event for the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Championship, a title that, if I am successful in retaining, I make the record of holding the title a full year. That has been my goal since day one. If I don't win, I don't break that record. But the two people I am wrestling are the two biggest obstacles of not only Matt Pro Wrestling's existence, but honestly of my career. You got multi-time world champion, whether you want to talk about Pro Wrestling Magic, BCW, Warriors of Wrestling.
Yes,
many companies. He just captured the Enjoy Wrestling Championship.
ECWA, I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
ASE Men's Championship. The guy's got more titles than I got stepkids, and you know me, I got a lot of stepkids. Darius Carter, who is in the PWI 500.
And not only that, number 150.
Absolutely. Who has wrestled from Beyond Wrestling back and forth. Any wrestling company you could think of on the indies today, he's either been there or he's already too good for, according to him. And he is yet to ever be signed to a contract, to ever be on television. That's why I say he is arguably the best professional wrestler to never have a contract, to never be seen on television.
Said in my intro, listen, in my hype video, the man is arguably the greatest wrestler not to be in any of the big three companies.
Absolutely. And his track record precedes him. But that doesn't mean he wins every single match he's in. Doesn't mean that he has the number of every single person he steps in the ring with. It just means maybe all around he is the best to never be on television. The other man, so Darius Carter's one I had to face, the giant monster I had to slay at the end of the first year. The second year, since I've been champion, Mateo Marcelos, the leader of El Pacto Diabolico, a multi-promotional faction that has not only attacked Pro Wrestling Magic, but other promotions as well. Now he attacks Matt Pro Wrestling, and his goal is very simple. He wants to be the grand champion so he can manipulate and carve the company into his own weird image. I don't know if you've ever seen his promos. They're very strange.
I saw a couple of them before we came on the air. I did.
He's a bit of an agent of chaos, I like to say. I think he doesn't really like the establishment. Not a big suit and tie guy. More of a gooey green stuff coming out of his mouth while he wrestles kind of guy. I don't know what his hygiene is all about, but he is a tough character. He is a fighter more than a wrestler, I'd say, at this point, and he's the Pro Wrestling Magic Dark Arts champion. Whether he is by the time this match happens or not is irrelevant. He wants the grand championship. So I'm taking on two, in my opinion, world-class talents, guys who've held independent wrestling world titles in the past. I believe, I could be wrong, I believe Mateo might be a former world junior heavyweight champion in Pro Wrestling Magic. If not, he's definitely competed for the title.
And he's
These
their Dark
guys,
Arts champion at the moment, by the way.
and he's a Dark Arts champion. I mean, Pro Wrestling
Championship I
Magic.
know very well. You and I were talking about
Mm.
this off the air. It's a championship. You and I are talking about this. I've watched Pro Wrestling Magic many, many times in the past. So I mean, very familiar with that.
Yes. I was there, not competing, but as a fan, as a supporter in the back around the shows when Pro Wrestling Magic very first started. I got to see the very first Dark Arts champion ever defend the title a few times in that very, very early days in 2015, 2016, I believe, maybe 2016. We're talking about three guys with three very different mindsets, and this is not just a championship to be won. This is the grand championship. This is the top prize in our singles division. And with that championship comes a lot of responsibility and a lot of power. I don't like to shove my weight around. By the way, I've lost 8 pounds for this match. I'm taking it very serious. My cardio is up. I've been working very hard to be the best I could possibly be. The dad bod's still there.
The weight you've lost,
come on.
And that's on top of the weight that you've lost since last year. Because I remember you had talked about this last year in the lead up to the match where you took the grand championship, and we know what that meant to you and such. So that's already on top of prior weight losses.
Absolutely, cardio is a big part of it. Mat Pro Wrestling, their events tend to be in venues that are very beautiful but very hot. They are a heated element there that a lot of people get blown up. They get tired much faster. I know this. So what I do, I go into cardio. I go into heavy cardio to make sure I can handle not just the heat, but the fact that I'm taking on two of the absolute best Mat Pro Wrestling has ever seen. I mean, we're like Darius Carter's beaten Delirious at Mat Pro Wrestling. Mateo Marcelos has defeated Ray Mars himself, the owner of the company.
The boss. Yes.
You know, they've taken on the best and they've won, and now they're taking me on. And the only way I can prove that I am the best is by beating the best and retaining the championship in order to keep this company going in a direction that I believe is the right direction. Mat Pro Wrestling is being seen by more eyes all the time. I get the privilege of defending this title in multiple promotions. I defended at TF Crew, Pro Wrestling R, Pro Wrestling Magic, Mat Pro Wrestling, of course. I've defended it all over the place, and if I lose the championship, I don't get to do that ever again. I don't know if the championship will be defended at these other places anymore. Would a Darius Carter have the time to defend the title in other promotions? Will he even have the time to show up to Mat Pro at all? Maybe he'll be a Brock Lesnar and not show up for a few shows in a row. We have what? We have a number of contenders tournament or something. I believe the Mat Pro Wrestling champion should be at these events. And Mateo Marcelos might be at these events, but he's a wild card. He's probably going to hit people with, I don't know, baseball bats and hammers and stuff, get disqualified, ruin these fantastic wrestling matches and turn them into terrible fights. I want to pin or submit people. I don't want to bloody up everybody and spit in their faces with weird mist. I don't even know what that is. It's not, I mean, the Athletic Commission has no idea what that is. It's not legal. And then he runs away laughing. That's not professional wrestling to me. That is the work of thugs and bullies. Yeah, and I'm not a thug and a bully. I'm a bully fighter.
You are not that. You are certainly the man that fights for the underdog and fights for the right reasons. And some of your opponents may certainly bang to their own bone thugs and harmony kind of spin on things. But leave that aside. Everything that you just talked about, and these guys, they have different ways that they would take that championship and use it to their benefits. And you've only got a 33% chance. I hate to throw it out there, a 33.3% chance of walking away with this championship. One man in Darius Carter, who you spent a lot of time on. You spent a lot of time on here last year and being in a match with him, talking about what he's done. And, you know, he didn't take you very seriously last time out. That's on his mind. And then you're going to be in the ring with a man who last month, we're going to remind you of that footage in a little while, and Mateo Marcelos, who's pinned you. So on top of this right now, with everything you said about how Darius Carter and Mateo Marcelos would use the Mat Pro Wrestling Grand Championship to their use and benefit, you've only Radley Belmont have a 33.3% chance of walking out and still Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion.
I mean, what you're talking about here is statistics, right?
Yes,
And we
sir.
see statistics in all types of sports. This guy should win. This team should lose. You know, there's a lot of stuff, especially in professional wrestling, that statistics can never take into account. I mean, I was absolutely nobody's first pick to win the Grand Championship tournament. I was probably nobody's second pick, nobody's third pick. There's a lot of great competitors in that tournament. One of them faced me in the finals, in Darius Carter. And yet, there I was, the underdog. You said I fought for the underdogs because I am an underdog. I will always be an underdog. And that is what benefits me in the end. People do underestimate me. I don't know what's about me. Maybe it's because my shirt looks like an arcade floor from 1992. And
there's nothing wrong with that, though. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I've always wanted an arcade in my house. I mean, I could afford one, but I don't know where I could put it. I mean, you know, so keep the attire. It does look, it fits you. You're Rad Dad.
I mean, I feel like I could win 100 championships and people will still go, I don't know about that guy. I don't know if he's going to win this one.
It may work in a Pac-Man tournament. You would certainly be heavily favored in a Pac-Man arcade tournament somewhere, I'm sure.
That is true. That's true. I was very good at Tekken 3 as well, but let's not get into that. The point is, I am often, if not always, underestimated. And I fight best when my back is against the wall and I have to win because I'm the only one left to believe in me. But I will say, if anybody saw the last event and Darius Carter came up to me and faced me face to face, something that he's never done before. He never had the, I don't know, the respect. I don't even know if it was respect, just the anger, the bitterness to come up to me and actually look at me face to face. Not as an insect, but as an obstacle to overcome. As small an obstacle as I might be to him. He said a lot of stuff. He talked for many, many minutes. Something Darius is very good at. Lots of talking. I did not say a word because when he handed me the microphone, the audience chanted my name. Something that they didn't do the first time I wrestled Darius. There were fans in the audience the first night I wrestled Darius in that tournament final that were cheering him on. I heard a fan yell, "He's not championship material." Go back to the footage. Somebody yelled that from the audience.
I mean, I understand.
And that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I know it wasn't you, Bryce. That's okay. Because here we are almost a year later. And that whole entire crowd chanted my name. They spoke for me. And those are the kind of people that I am doing this for. I'm not fighting for myself. Darius Carter is fighting for himself. He wants another tick on a box that he can put on a graphic. That's all the championship means to him. It's practically owed to him. It's elementary that he's going to win.
We talked about this in the past with him going into the lead up of the finals last year. And we talked about that it's a rite of passage. Darius Carter, the man that's in the upper half of the PWI 500. We just talked about it a few minutes ago. The guy that is arguably the greatest wrestler not to have been in WWE, TNA Impact, and AEW. You want to throw MLW in there? That's 4. I'll give you that as a bonus. So we know about that, and it was a rite of passage for him to have that championship. I mean, the man has held, 47 championships of some sort at this point. So really, I mean, you are that guy that maybe is used to being in this predicament. If that's going to help you this under, even though you're the incumbent, because we just spoke about one man in Darius Carter, and sure, maybe he faced you, and maybe he's respecting you because, well, he's got to face you and he can't go into it the way he did last year. But another guy who pinned you last time.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Matteo Marcellos, the leader of El Pacto Diabolico, because I don't think he really cares about this championship either. If anybody saw the last event or the hype package that came out, this is a pretty beautiful championship. Chains, gold, diamonds. He threw it into the ring for us, threw it back into the ring like it was a toy, like it was nothing. Because that's what he thinks of it as. For him, this championship is just a piece in order to barter for more control in this company. He's looking at it.
Are you sure he's not Christopher Columbus? Are you sure he's not Christopher Columbus rather than Mateo Marcellos?
I don't know. My favorite Christopher Columbus is the guy who directed Home Alone, by the way.
That's a great point. That is a great point, Dooley. And that one we can bring up because the other one, I guess, with Indigenous holidays, maybe we should or should not. So I'll give you that one.
To me, Columbus Day is about the director of Home Alone and Home Alone 2. But anyway, Mateo Marcellos you'll see in this match, he hit me in the gut with a steel chair in my second match of the night after choking me in my first match of the night and costing both myself and Mikey Midnight, my challenger, the opportunity to have an actual professional wrestling match in front of a crowd that wanted to see professional wrestling. I issued an open challenge since Mateo Marcellos is the number one contender. Mateo wouldn't take the title shot. He wanted to wait and bide his time like it's some sort of briefcase cash in or something. Well, it's not. So I came out as a fighting champion. Mateo and his gang here decided to come out and cost both of us a great wrestling match. So what we did in kind is accept their open challenge that they were going to have against three opponents. The three of us took them on. And you'll see later on in this match, as I get into the ring, Mateo Marcellos decides to hit me in the gut with a steel chair. This is Matt Pro Wrestling. We don't really use weapons. We don't have a hardcore division. We don't really do the.
Oh, it's not
the
TF Crew. I got that.
Kind of stuff.
It's not TF Crew.
It's not TF Crew. TF Crew has its own style of combat with its own roster that understands that style. That's great at that style. We're doing a completely different style of pro wrestling. And Mateo Marcellos might as well go to TF Crew, have a fight with Mikey Anarchy or something. He'd be great. But here he is hitting me in the gut with a steel chair, and then hitting me with his his Faymaster. I don't know what he calls it really, but he hits me with his axe kick, whatever he does.
Okay.
I was kind of looking down at the ring. I don't exactly know how he hit me with it, but he gets the pin. And a lot of people have been saying, hey, are you worried about that? Does that bother you? Of course it bothers me. Of course I think about it every day. Am I worried about Marcellos pinning me? I'm more worried about Marcellos hitting that move on me. That's the problem. And the only way he could even get to that move was hitting me in the gut with a steel chair. Well, now we're in a triple threat match. I would hope that Marcellos can be a man and just fight me in this triple threat match. But now he's probably going to try to hit me with a chair or something. So I got to be ready. And this is the opportunity that I will be ready. I will be prepared for anything because that's the rules. The rules are anything goes. I know that. And we all know that. I'm willing to fight fire with fire. That's what a man does. That's what a champion does. There's no problem with that when it's within the rules. But Mateo Marcellos seems to forget that the very first time we wrestled in Matt Pro was in a gauntlet back in 2024 where I pinned him with an O'Connor roll, a wrestling hold, a wrestling move, a wrestling pin. And I beat him. And that has driven him nuts ever since. And I think that's the whole reason why he has come after me, why he has brought all of his faction against me, why all this is happening. Because he's unhinged. And if I got to snap some sanity into him, I will. I'm doing it not just for me, doing it for Matt Pro. Mateo, like I said, Mateo's doing it for himself. Carter's doing it for himself. I'm there to inspire people. Just like champions of the past inspired me. I would not be a professional wrestler in 1984. I'm not 6'4". I'm not 300 pounds. Guys like me, underdogs. It wasn't just the fact that they were there. It's the fact that they got hit and they kept getting up. And one time the other guy went down and didn't get up, and they got the titles. They got the belts, and they kept wrestling, and they had glorious careers. And that inspired me to want to do that. So now I'm doing it. And I hear it all the time. Bryce, I'm not kidding. I got Facebook messages, I got Instagram messages literally this week saying, thank you for inspiring me. I want to grow up to be a professional wrestler. I'm going to get out of high school. I'm getting out of college. I'm going to look for a local training school, asking me advice what schools to go to. That's what this means to me. That's what being a champion means to me. That's why I can't go in hoping that I'm going to win. I have to win. I have to win.
Well, I mean, we've put up a poll because something we've added to StreamYard has allowed us to, starting as of yesterday, is we now have polling options. So you'll see some different polls throughout the show, and we'll see what you think about some of them. And Rad Dad, we are here with Rad Dad Radley Belmont, who will be in action this coming Sunday for Matt Pro Wrestling. He is their grand champion. He will be defending that grand championship, which you see there right behind him, against Mateo Marcelos, the man he's in the ring with, and also Darius Carter, the Darius Carter. And we are so thankful that Rad Dad is here with us on a Friday night. And if you're out there, please follow Matt Pro Wrestling on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X. Also, we're going to put Rad Dad's socials up. And, you know, Rad Dad, you did bring that up in that Facebook and Instagram. You have 30,000 followers combined. You obviously have a lot of followers out there. You arguably do have a lot of followers, and maybe more so than Darius Carter, certainly more than Mateo Marcelos. And that message of autism and fighting for the right reasons is certainly a lot. And we know what that means to you. But again, these guys are coming for you. And I mean, it's one thing to prepare for Darius, but you've got Mateo in here. And I'm sure you're going to have a strategy to help you here, not just as the underdog, not just as the guy fighting for the fans or doing it for the right reasons. You'll have a strategy. You may or may not want to tell us that here tonight, but you must have some strategy, because whether you like to admit it or not, Mateo got the last laugh on you, and he's going to use that. And maybe of the three of you, he probably feels the most confident, because Carter's been in the ring with you once. It's Rad Dad 1, Carter nothing. But last time out, which we're about to see right now, Mateo Marcelos got the dub over Rad Dad Radley Belmont. And if what we just see here happens again, and new Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion Mateo Marcelos.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. That is absolutely true. And I don't have to be pinned to lose the championship. I'm very aware of that. This is not an elimination match. It's not one of those old school three-way dances. This is a traditional triple threat. So I know the stakes are very high. I have defended the title in a fatal four-way match. That was a tornado of a match. You've shown that on the podcast before.
Yes.
And,
we showed it. Yes.
That match, I mean, it's already happened, so I can tell you my strategy was very much to pick and choose my moments and let them destroy each other, which they very much did, especially Jimmy. Nobody likes Jimmy. Everyone wanted to hit Jimmy. So, of course, Jimmy was the most beat-up guy, and I was able to get the pin on him.
And we remember what you did to Leonidas afterwards also, and we won't remind some of the audience. And the other guy was, the American Muscle Shark, Mark the Shark, who, will certainly have some thoughts or two once again on Sportswire after he returns from your hometown in Vegas. But that's, we've already gone down that road. You were successful. You were successful. Listen, so you know what? In matches like this, where you're multi-man and where your odds of retaining a title are less than 50%, you've had the upper hand. So listen, touche.
I mean, obviously, Darius Carter has a lot of experience. Mateo Marcellos gaining more experience by the day. I've been wrestling since 2008. I've been in a lot of multi-man matches. And I have more to lose and more motivation than both of them combined. Because let me put it the other way. Let me give you the other side of the coin. If Darius Carter loses, he's out nothing. He still has 3 other championship belts. He just goes home to his very expensive house in a very fancy car, in a very nice suit, and he's visited by who knows how many women, and his life just goes on, right?
Pretty much.
Mateo Marcellos, if he loses, well, he goes back to his giant gang of minions who are trying to take over multiple promotions all at once. It's the same thing of a gang losing one street. Well, we'll take over the next street. It doesn't really matter. But Bryce, you know I'm stepdad.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
You know what happens if I come home without my championship belt. You know, the one that my stepdaughter looks at every morning before school. You know, the reason my stepdaughter for almost a year now has been calling me champ. And if I come home on Sunday night and she wakes up Monday morning before school and looks, you know, above the fireplace and realizes that the championship belt that's been there for a year is no longer there, she's going to come to me. And she's going to ask, not where's the belt, not, oh, what happened in your match last night? How did it go? She's going to say, Daddy, are you still champ? And I'll tell you right now, look in my eyes, man.
Yes, sir.
There is absolutely nothing that Darius Carter or Mateo Marcellos can say, do, or make me feel that would hurt more, that would hurt my soul, my heart more than telling that little girl that Daddy didn't make it to 1 year as champ. Because whether she says it or not, I know in the back of her head, she's going to think, well, if Daddy can't be champ, I can't be champ either. And I am absolutely not going to let that little girl think that she can't be or do whatever she wants in life.
I picked up on something just now that you had mentioned. That's the 1 year. 1 year as Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion. We know what you've done with other championships, but that meaning, and this is what's at stake here. If you're able to win this Sunday, you're looking at 1 year as the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion. And that has got to mean to you just as much as everything you've just talked about here with that you're facing.
Sorry.
I understand. I know it's a lot you've talked about. Obviously, you don't want to let your stepdaughter down. You've got a lot there. You don't want to go home empty-handed. And that's an emotional meaning there, an emotional part to a relationship. And I completely understand that. And I respect that. And there's no question it may take you a second or two to, get yourself back and, take a deep breath for a second. Understandable. But once again, it's one thing to stare Darius Carter in the eye once again. You're seeing him. It's another thing to see Mateo Marcellos. He may have just pinned you. But history is what you're staring at. In 1 year as the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion, should you're able to walk out with it less than 48 hours from now.
I remember telling you on our last podcast how When my grandparents, my grandfather and my father passed away, it meant a lot to me to try to be remembered in life, and that's going to stick with me my entire life. That's a story that I probably will say many, many more times in the future, just because it means so much to my core. And so I don't like to make things about myself, but in this case, it's very easy to do that because this is the biggest match of my entire professional wrestling career as a singles competitor. I've been a part of over 40 independent wrestling promotions since 2016. This is not only the biggest match of my entire singles career, it's the biggest match in Mat Pro Wrestling. Not only that, I have held, I want to say 13 or 14 championships in my professional wrestling career. I consider this the biggest run of that entire time from 2016 to now. I've had some great title reigns. I've wrestled some great wrestlers. I've won 33-man battle royals. I've taken on the world. I've defended this champion.
You've been in the ring. You've been in the ring with the Rock and Roll Express. You know, Hornswoggle. I mean, we know what you've done and who you've been in that ring with. And once again, we'll continue to talk about it until the day you die and the cows come home. You beat Darius Carter to win that championship. We know that 10 years you're in this sport, what you've done. I mean, it's truly remarkable, the accomplishments that you've had.
You know what amazed me? I actually didn't realize it until I watched the hype video this week. But when I wrestled Darius Carter in the finals of the tournament, he was wearing the medal, the participation medal from the ECWA Super 8 tournament, to remind everybody that he was a former 2-time ECWA tournament winner, about to win another tournament. And he did not. I won the tournament that night. And after winning the championship, I've gone on 5 promotions strong. This will be defense number 8. I've taken on, I believe, something like a dozen challengers. And I've gone from...
You wanted to be a fighting champion. That was one of the things you talked about on here after you won the championship, that you wanted to be a fighting champion. You want to be here. And you've done that. I mean, you've taken the Mat Pro Wrestling Championship to other places. We've shown the footage in Connecticut. You know, you talked about places like Pro Wrestling Magic. You have gone out and taken this championship and made it mean more than just for Mat Pro Wrestling. You've made this championship into something where anybody, anytime, anywhere can have a shot at it.
It's extremely important to me, not just because Mat Pro Wrestling is a genuinely great place to wrestle for, but the message of autism awareness makes it so much more from the heart for me. And Mat Pro Wrestling only has a show every 60 days, every 2 months.
Yeah, it's like 2 months, 2-3 months.
I wanted to be a champion that wrestled every month if I possibly could. It didn't matter to me where I was, as long as I was defending it and representing the title, representing the company. And luckily, you know, Mat Pro Wrestling and the people that run it have so many connections with other promotions that we're doing the things that a lot of promotions don't. I'm interpromotionally wrestling with these other companies wholeheartedly. And as you know, TF Crew is having an interpromotional match on the Mat Pro Wrestling card coming up.
Absolutely. I definitely know about it.
Without becoming the Mat Pro Wrestling champion, wrestling for Mat Pro, without being able to defend the title, without all that, I would have never done stuff like defended the championship at a mall in Connecticut in front of 400 people. An amazing opportunity that came up at the very last moment. As you know, I was meant to wrestle Ace Romero, then turned into an open challenge for my championship against
I would say it was an even more difficult task at hand, because you knew what to expect in Ace Romero, but to go and have an open challenge, that could be anybody. So that's even more of a difficult task. And like you said, defending it in front of over 400 people, one of the biggest shows anybody could ever have the opportunity to wrestle in, and knowing what was at stake, knowing what that show meant in terms of the Boys and Girls Club, the Milford Mall, one of the biggest malls, not just in Connecticut, but of all of the Northeast, and knowing who was there. I mean, we had guys again like Little Guido. A lot of people would say, it should be a Hall of Famer, a guy that should be in the WWE Hall of Fame, and a guy that the birthday boy, who I'm going to mention in a little while, retained his championship by pinning a WWE champion. I repeat, a WWE champion. So what you've done with that championship and where you've taken that championship, it speaks volumes. It speaks volumes to who you are and to what that pro wrestling means. But that's all thrown out the window if you lose on Sunday, right? And that seems to be a theme. It's funny. I was listening to you talk about this episode once again about the biggest match of your career. But every time you come on, it gets bigger and bigger on here. And I think this time, this is another reason why, because of what's at stake, the odds and who you're facing and what you've dealt with recently. And I mean, I hope for your sake, the next appearance you come on here, probably again in 2 months from now, that you'll be once again having the biggest match of your career, because that's been the theme. And in order for you to continue what you've done and what you've said here tonight, you got to find a way to, and still, Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion.
I mean, you know what, Tom? I think, tell me if I'm wrong, I think this is genuine. Ever since I started to come here on Sportswire, my entire pro wrestling career has just gone up and up and up. And I'm thinking to myself, is it GTS? No. Is it this company? No. Is it the Stepdads tag team? No. What's the one new thing that's still been around this whole time? And it's you. So I think,
I'm really
Sportswire Radio did it.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I mean,
you're giving me the rub.
Well, I mean, Gabe, I know Gabe is very happy that I've been a sponsor to all of your TF Cruz shows. I mean, I know Gabe deep down, although Gabe these days seems like he's changed a new leaf. I don't know if it's for the better or not. We'll let Gabe come on and talk about that. Yeah, but I mean, I know Gabe deep down is still happy with Sportswire because I have been a generous supporter of the TF Cruz shows, but I have not been responsible. It might be coincidence. It might be irony. I mean, you do realize this is the only podcast where you're entertaining on, because, your peers are here and others. And I think we kind of, not me, but the audience asked you entertaining things and such. I'll leave the rest of the public to determine that. But
that should be the poll. Is Sportswire Radio elevating my career? Because it sure seems, these are two belts I did not have.
You have a new poll. We'll let people come into the chat in a little bit and talk to you as well. But no, I mean, listen, it's a legitimate thing that every time you come on here, it gets bigger and bigger. In order for you to have that for the next appearance you come on, you got to walk away and still Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion. And so, like I said, and there's a lot we've talked about tonight. Darius Carter, man, I've known for a long time. Everybody's on. I mean, he's a guy, I always say it, he's one of the few guys I've talked about on this platform that I have seen his face in a window, in storefronts in Staten Island and Brooklyn. I mean, it's very few people. Yep, and where my stomping grounds, where I get stopped in the street. I want to point that I get stopped in the street. I've been told, I've seen you. I see this man, I've seen his face in posters in storefronts. That's number one. Then you've got, again, Mateo Marcelos, a man who, has got some history with you. So, I mean, everything we've talked about here tonight, in order for you to have even a bigger match coming up in 2 months, you got to find a way to beat these guys and continue what you've done and continue to prove to the world why, you know what? You may talk about being this underdog, but really, you know what? Maybe Rad Dad's not so much of an underdog, because if he's going to be the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion for a year and he's going to continue to defeat guys in different places, continue to defend that championship on a monthly basis, even though he doesn't have to, then maybe it's time to look at Rad Dad Radley Belmont the way we looked at Rocky Balboa after he beat Apollo Creed in Rocky 2 and went on that run in Rocky 3 and came out there and beat everybody up. And maybe that's the way we need to look at you. if you go out there and win this Sunday?
I don't know, Bryce. I mean, even Rocky and Rocky 5 and Rocky Balboa, still an underdog, you know? I'm getting
Five.
old, you know?
Let's go skip
Don't
over that
you
one.
know, this is like my superpower. Everyone underestimates me. Don't take it away from me now.
Oh, well, I mean, listen, I'm trying not to, but I mean, but that's the reality of the way we've talked a lot about your matches over the past 2 years. You've been coming on here for over 2 years, and
Yeah,
you've been in there with some really big names across anywhere in independent wrestling, especially on this platform. But I happen to think that maybe you're not so much of an underdog, and especially if you retain your championship this Sunday.
Well, my goal now is that I win, I retain, I continue on, and maybe a couple years down the line, hopefully way down the line, I'll retire, and then when I retire, maybe they'll make a graph or a video or something that's like, look at all the things he did. And all my opponents will go, oh, geez, he's like one of the best. We never realized. And so I was the underdog the whole time, and I was able to overcome all those odds. That would be fantastic. But you're absolutely right. You know, the thing about me, like I said, is I'm at my absolute peak when I'm up against the wall. If I win this match, and a lot of people will take me way more seriously, my next opponent might take me way more seriously. Well, guess what? Then I'm up against the wall again because I'm going to have a more serious opponent or opponents. I don't even know. I just got to focus on everything one match at a time, just like all of us focus on one day at a time. Got to get the kids to school today. I'll worry about tomorrow. And that's exactly how I take it. I was worried about this. Not that I was worried, but I was thinking about this podcast today. Tomorrow morning, I'll go back to the gym.
Right. You were really worried and thinking about little Sportzwire for Holden. I highly doubt
little
that.
Sportzwire, the number one. You yell it enough, you gotta believe it. I believe it. I want everyone in the comments say Sportzwire number one. Do the Iron Sheik. Sportzwire number one.
Well, I you know what? Let's get to some people here in the chat. We're going to certainly move on because I got to talk about a number of different things. We'll come back to this in a little while. Let's get to everybody here. Zilla's here first. Zilla was waiting for a while. She said, hello to the GOAT, the GBYWN, which we do agree with, and the Met Pro Wrestling Grand Champion, Rad Dad Radley Belmont. Hello. Thank you, Zilla, once again. A man that was here on Monday wanted to say hello. And Rad, I hope you're keeping the GBYWN title warm for Sean Gaddy when the time comes. And he almost forgot. He wanted to say Rad Hazard.
Let me see if I got a good one in me. Here we go. Hold on. Rad Hazard.
You still got it. I mean, you did the tribute thing last year.
It's been a little Vincey now that I think about it.
But, I mean, you know, you're getting around. You're getting around. I mean, you know, speaking of people that we'll talk about after we get to the other side of the chat, a guy that'll be on here in a few weeks, and you might get a chance to meet him finally.
I'll meet him.
Yeah.
We'll have to get a photo with the belt.
Well, he can certainly, as a fan, take the photo of the belt. I'm sure as a fan, you know, as somebody that knows you, but I don't think you want him to take the belt.
No, a photo with what? No, the only shot he's getting is a photo shot. Okay, photo shoot.
Right? Well, we want to see some photo shots of his wedding because he was supposed to have a big wedding show that we really haven't seen much of. So really, if you think about it, he should be showing us some more wedding photos, and maybe he could show some of that when he returns here 3 weeks from today at 8:00 Eastern time. So maybe he'll show us some photos, and you know, not the ones like when Tommy Lee and Pamela Lee at the time got married, but at least, you know, show us some wrestling stuff. I mean, some of us may want to see that, but I'll leave that to the rest of the chat. This is a stepdad, and we are still family friendly, so we'll leave that at that. Right, I put in a little thing, yes, and he also, there you go. He pretty much said it that he can't wait to meet you, and he's going to talk a lot about that in 3 weeks. He's definitely looking forward to meeting you, and we're happy that we can meet you here today. Hello to Sean Joey. Hello to tomorrow's guest, Quick Strike Johnny Velocity, who is going to be announcing his final moments in his career. His in-ring career is coming to an end, and you know, some people have been trying to say, well, maybe you'll change your mind. Everybody else unretires in wrestling, but he's going to announce tomorrow some of the final people he would like to wrestle and in the underground circuit and such. And he'll give us the 411 on that, if that's still a thing.
Pretty cool. I think there's I think the retirement match is overrated and overdone. I think we gotta bring back the retirement tour. Give people like,
Well, you know
oh,
what's
for
funny?
the next
I'm going to tell you the
2
truth.
years, we're gonna
You
do
know,
a tour.
it's so funny to me that in wrestling and rock, it's almost coincided because everybody in rock says, "Oh, I'm retiring. That's it. It's the last tour. It's the last album." Then you see him again. And in wrestling, it's almost the same thing. I mean, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair. I mean, countless wrestler after wrestler said, "I'm done. I'm retiring," and then they come back. And I just it's just so fascinating to me that in wrestling and in rock, I obviously have a lot of these bands on, and that's the topic in rock. Oh, this band said they were retired. They signed a contract, and then they're back out there, and then other members are gone, and they're still playing. Another band said they were done. They were never going to play again. Now they're playing, and they're playing with a new singer, and there's only like 2/5 of the band. I mean, so it's just funny to me how in wrestling and rock, everyone says they're done. That's it, and then they come back.
We should have like a rule, like if you retire and you want to come back, it's like an unsanctioned match. Like nobody else can. It's not really a match. It's like I don't know, it's just something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just to me so interesting that it just everybody says I'm done, and then they keep going. I'm not saying that's with Johnny, but it just there's a list of them. And yes, hello to Johnny. He's the ROEW Prestige Champion. Camo Cam is here in the house. Camo's big on TikTok. She does wrestling predictions. She's done some stuff going to WWE and AEW shows. We'll talk about some of the stuff you do also on Instagram in a minute. Thank you, Camo Cam. And Rad Dad Radley Belmont is awesome, amazing, cool, great, and a talented wrestler. Thank you very much, Zilla. Thank you, Camo. If you'd like, I would highly recommend you hit the sub button for me for Matt Pro Wrestling so you can support them. We've talked a lot about what Matt Pro Wrestling has done over the past year in autism awareness and doing things for the right reasons and supporting the community as a whole, especially if you're out there in the Jersey area. So do me a favor. Please go hit the sub button and follow Matt Pro Wrestling.
If anything, just look at one of their videos to see the beautiful theater that most of the events are in.
Yes.
The theater is absolutely gorgeous. It's unlike any wrestling promotion venue I've ever seen. To be honest, there's never been any wrestling shows other than Matt Pro at this theater. Absolutely beautiful.
Statewide, yes. Stateside here, and
stateside, yeah.
In the UK, I've had a few companies come on that were in a theater or an old-looking theater.
It reminds me a lot of how I heard. There's not really many pictures. Maybe you could find a few, but in the 1800s, they would do wrestling shows in opera houses. That was all like standard.
Yes, I have heard that. Yes,
I wish it was still like that. This is kind of that vibe, it's just with better seating.
A lot better seating because we don't want to go back to 1830s seating. Sean Jovi wanted to say, flipping between this and an ICW watch along on Chongo's Twitch. I'll be in and out, but love y'all. Thank you very much. And Sean Jovi will be in the ring tomorrow. So I hope that you're enjoying the Twitch from Chongo's and coming in and out of the chat. This fellow wanted to say, you got this. I'm rooting for you on this match. I believe that you're going to bring your A game. Well, after what you've said tonight, I definitely think you're going to bring your A game. Speaking of people that you share a locker room with and you share quite a history with, and speaking of other guys that have turned a new leaf, I guess you might want to say that is the man himself, Mr. Doc Holliday. Mr. Doc Holliday, the Tomorrow's End champion here in TF Crew. I mean, I may not want to remind Caster of this, but I'll certainly remind you of this. And, Doc Holliday, your old friend, certainly has changed a new leaf.
I mean, we had a rocky history. I don't know if Doc Holliday has turned a new leaf. I mean, he this is just.
Well, actually, no. I can correct you on that because when Gabe Sayers is trying to feed him white people's food on TikTok and Instagram, he is turning a new leaf, especially with his stomach. Because I don't know what Gabe Sayers is trying to do. I get that Gabe Sayers is now this big social media influencer, but he's trying to poison the likes of Doc Holliday and Caster and Christopher Black and even your old friend or not so friend Angel Santiago. I did say at least it was entertaining to be on sports. It may not be factual, but it is entertaining.
Yes.
We'll move on. Thank you, Eric. Hello to Eric. Good to see you, Eric. I think I've seen you in a couple of times here before. He's here too.
Just
Thank
for
you.
the records, Chongo stole my White Castle. The only White Castle I've ever bought in my life. Chongo accidentally took it and ate it. And so I've never had White Castle in my
You know
entire
what's
life.
funny? You said as we are here with Rad Dad Radley Belmont, who's the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion, the GBYWN Champion, also the #1 contender to the TF Crew YouTube Championship. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce here. Please follow Rad Dad and all the companies he represents. It's funny you said that. I only have really one story with White Castle. Is here on Staten Island and on Highland Boulevard, and I had a really bad case of the runs, and I went into the.
That's usually after White Castle, I hear.
No, it was before. Just one of those days for whatever reason, and it was just I don't know what came up of me, and I just barged in, didn't even knock, and just went into the bathroom, and it felt like I had a nuclear bomb on me, and that's my only. I don't think I've ever had White Castle either. I do remember as a kid. My parents got the frozen White Castle, but I've never, other than, they used to have the frozen in the supermarket stores. But White Castle, no. I'm good. I'll pass. Thank you, Eric, though, for tuning in. And speaking of people that I had a great conversation with last week on the phone, and I did tell him you were coming on here, and he is here. That is the one and only Mr. Copper Dragon, who said your shirt is elite.
Oh, thank you very much. Copper Dragon is legendary.
Absolutely.
In our community, both the BYW Link and the GYWN. California Kid, as we used to know him.
Yes.
Absolutely love it. I loved all of his videos on TikTok.
He's coming back, by the way. He's coming back. He's got some content. And when he brings that content, I'm going to get some quality control because I'm still a Patreon subscriber. So Copper will be making his way back on here eventually. And he's got some great videos he's going to talk about on here. So I promise you that Copper Dragon, you're going to see those videos like you've never seen them before. Trust me on that.
Well, Copper, I'll let you know if you need any Rad Dad, Rad Hazard footage, you let me know. It's coming right to you. Right, the second you need it, I'm sending it your way, no problem, because I'll do anything for you.
I also did want to point out that this is a trivia question for tonight's show because you were the first guest since I've had my cast taken off. So my cast has been on for weeks. It wasn't because Mark the Shark came on, because right after Mark the Shark was on Sportswire, I basically broke my hand, but he was the last guest before I broke my hand. You're the first guest now that I don't have a cast anymore.
Good old Marcus the Sharkus.
Hey, he's going to be on here right after WrestleMania, so we'll be looking forward to that then. He also said arcades had the best carpets. There you go. Thank you for that.
Love arcades.
We agree. And it's not a prediction. It's a true fact that Rad Dad will come out on top. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, buddy.
And it's good to see you. Speaking of people that will be back on here at the end of the month, Skulls wanted to say good evening, gentlemen. He was just out there in Vegas, and I think he's gonna maybe he'll run into Mark the Shark and the Cheenies, although they won't be going together. And the rest of them, and the crew, you certainly know very well. And Emily Saxton, I'm not going to bring that up. I'm not going to get you in the middle of that whole Mark the Shark.
I already had my Emily Saxton feud. I don't need that again.
And I'm not going to bring up the whole thing, with Ice-T Curtis and the Cheenies. And now Mark the Shark's not a Cheenie, and he's upset about that. And I'm not going to do that to you.
How long was it? 57 minutes. We talked about Matt Pro Wrestling, a couple things. The one word I never said in all that is drama, and all that is just drama. I don't need it in my life. I got wrestling. I don't need drama too.
Well, we're not going to give you any more drama. You got plenty of stuff ahead, so I'm going to get to some more people in the chat. Thank you, Zilla. Zilla did vote for 3. Oh, heck yeah. You are going to retain your championship. There's another vote for you. Thank you, Eric. So you got 3 votes. And also, if you're on Instagram, follow Rad Dad, and I'll tell you why in a few more minutes. Sportswire Radio is no longer little anymore with all these special guests. Well, I mean, that's very kind of you. I know Chase Wakefield coming on is the reason why. I mean, that's the biggest guest we can get is Chase Wakefield. So, I mean, I appreciate that. That's why, Sportswire is, not so little because Chase Wakefield, maybe he's gained a few pounds since he's got married. Get it? He was kind of little, and then he's gained some weight. So since he got married, in the married life, say puts a few pounds on you. You're obviously being a stepdad, Chase being a married man. You guys would know about that. Me, I wouldn't know anything about that. But
let's not say it's not a dad bod; it's a father figure, but it's still kind of a dad bod.
I was with somebody before the Jewish holidays, and they said, "Oh, can I put a few pounds on you?" I'm like, "No, I'm always on the go. And like, what if I fed you, would you still gain pounds? I'm like, no, I'm always I don't want a dad bod. You once upon a time did have the dad bod, but now you no longer have the dad bod. And that's something that's going to not be in my dictionary. Let's get to some more comments. Sportswire would crush the jabroni Hulk Hogan. No, we God rest his soul. God rest his soul. We appreciate that. Jim Brunzell had a few Hulk Hogan stories. We'll keep it going.
I'll tell you right now, I'm going to make Darius Carter humble. I'm going to make Mateo Marcellus humble.
Well, we're going to certainly get humble here and get to some more comments. Let's do that here. There we go. Some of the matches of the wedding have been a very busy man. Yes, some of them have been up. Some of them have not. And appreciate you. And I agree, retirement should be done with a tour. Yeah, I really think that, yes. And I think in wrestling, I mean, I think Cena did it okay. I think the way Cena did it wasn't bad if he doesn't come back. But, most of these guys say this date and that date, and then they come back. So, I mean, that's how it goes. Then it culminates with the selection of a final opponent. So, yeah, there you go. And this fellow here, who or what is your inspiration for that unique beard? Well, in case you've been watching, I've had this unique beard for about 7 years, and I've been on here for 7 years. So you'd have to go back to the footage and look to see, why I have this unique beard. But really, I have it, and that's pretty much, there really is no unique answer. I've just had it, and my razor blades just allergic to to facial hair here, so that's just what we do. So obviously Abraham Lincoln and Rolly Fingers and all those other names I've heard. So thank you very much for the comment. All right, obviously I gotta talk about some other things here, and I see Chase Wakefield's in this chat, and I understand you have another championship that you might be putting to some work here coming up next month, huh?
Absolutely. I am, as you know, the GBYWN World Champion, the championship that has been defended since 2008, only vacated once, and has been defended in multiple countries, multiple continents, recognized in Australia, defended in the UK, Canada, America, against competitors from all over the place, from an organization that has heralded guys like Will Ospreay, Alex Zane, Robbie Eagles, his name I don't usually mention, but he's from the old community. And this is more of a title for wrestlers by wrestlers. It's not recognized by any one company. It's not recognized by any one league. It has been defended on the independents, but mostly it's for us, the underground. And I have, after, my first title shot was maybe September, somewhere around September 2009. Yep. And I only won it finally. And that was in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I won it in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 2024. So it's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to get some title defenses in. Really, it's only during these reunion shows that we get to have those type of matches, but we do have a reunion show. 3BW. Brutal Backbreaking Wrestling is having their 20-year anniversary show next month. And that is 20, I can't believe that, 20 years. And they've tried to do anniversary shows almost every year. I think they've missed a year here and there. But I used to go to their shows back in the day in the Lancaster, Pennsylvania area. I've seen GBW World title matches happen at their events. And a lot of those guys went pro. They've all done a lot of professional stuff. Guys like Matt DeMorris, as you know.
Yep, absolutely.
A legend of God in backyard wrestling.
For sure.
Wrestled G Fatal at 3BW at one time. So at the reunion show, they're going to wrestle again. Stuff like that really fires me up. A Matt DeMorris match, many other guys from the past, Marcus Centofonte.
Oh, man, we've talked a lot about Rick. When Rick was here, we talked a lot about, we know their history for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you got the 3BW originals, Tim Rush, Troy Allen. Have you ever heard of Merrick Miami? He pinned Zack Ryder, as Matt Cardona. Well, he was a member of 3BW pretty much till the end. There's a lot of guys I can name, and I felt like this is a very special experience. So I wanted to make sure that my 2 title defenses because it is a full weekend of wrestling. Is a full weekend of wrestling that we're going to be doing. I wanted 2 title defenses that were not just good, they were worth it, they were memorable, they were worthy of a championship that has been heralded for nearly 20 years in its own right. So day one, I'll let you guys know. Day one, I will be defending the championship against former BXW wrestler D-Mac.
Yes.
If you don't know who D-Mac is, in 2010, he pinned Matt DeMorris to become a world champion. Somewhere around 2011, 2012, he decided to go off and do his own things. He hit the real world and had a lot of great success in that. Wrestling went to the back burner. He's only had a few matches since then. So for 15 years, he's been biding his time, having a big match here, there, and he's decided that if he got a chance to wrestle me for the championship, win, lose, or draw, he feels like it is the ultimate opportunity to have all eyes on him, to have a moment of his own. And so he, even though we talked about it, ironically enough, talked about retirement tours, there's no real tours with this because these reunion shows pop up randomly. We don't know.
We talked about this. Listen, remember when Rick was here, we talked about, we're supposed to have We're Not Dead Yet. That was going to be the end of it. And it wasn't. I mean, that's just how it, you just never know.
I never knew if I was going to defend this title again, at least at the reunion shows. So I defended at TF Crew on the Independents, but I didn't know if I would defend this at another underground reunion. And this opportunity popped up. So we don't know if we're going to have a wrestle again. We just don't know. So D-Mac is he's not putting his career on the line. I'm sorry. He's going to retire, win, lose, or draw, but he wants to retire as GBYWN world champion. Everyone's ultimate dream is to win the world title and go out on top.
Absolutely.
Like I said, this title's only been vacated once in history, and that was one wrestler who won the title and did not wrestle again in the underground for about 6 years. He did eventually come back, and that was my tag team partner, Patrick Wade Wilson. We know him as Wade Kruger.
Yes.
He's the only guy to do it, and he did eventually come back. I think he had 2 matches or something. But D-Mac has no thought process of 6 years from now coming back. So this is the one and only match. This is the one and only shot. It's do or die. Either way, he goes home for the last time. And I'm putting my championship on the line against him. Now, win, lose, or draw for me, that means the championship is vacant on Sunday, or I am retaining and defending on Sunday. Either way, I will be again in the GBYW World Championship match, day 2, Sunday, against a man who's never had a shot at any GBYW title ever. His name is CJ Smash. He exclusively wrestled in the underground. I want you to imagine a taller Kevin Sullivan that throws people around. I'm talking about like a Dr. Death Steve Williams type in a blue singlet instead of red. Bald, though. Steve Austin was pretend to be Steve Williams and threw people. He's tagged.
Wow. Okay.
This guy is huge. Definitely look up CJ Smash if you ever get the opportunity. But he's been dominating since the reunion show started. And when he came up in 2009, 2010, he was an absolute rookie. He was the bottom of the barrel. He was the opening match guy. Everybody knows this. 15 years or so go by, and he comes back to these reunion shows, and he is huge. He is jacked, and he is throwing people around like they're pieces of trash, and he is dominated. So there was nobody better and more deserving of a championship match on day 2 than CJ Smash. If the underground scene, if GWWN continued week to week like it did, he probably would already be the world champion. He would have probably gotten 5 title shots. Look at this man. Dominant. And I'm going to take him on. So, I'm going to be thrown around a lot. This particular show you're looking at right here is him wrestling in Florida. He went from around the Pittsburgh area, drove all the way down to Florida, and kicked everyone's butts. Undefeated for the weekend. This is what earned him this shot. You know, anybody that has the dedication, pro, underground, whatever it is, you want to be the man, you got to travel around the country. You got to take on the best. And he is doing it right now. He is absolutely doing it. So he's getting the title shot. If it's for the vacant title, so be it. If not, I will defend the championship. So either way, I have a humongous weekend ahead of me taking on the likes of D-Mac and CJ Smash. I'm very
what you got in front of you. I mean, we spent 45 minutes plus on Carter and Mateo Marcelos, but what we're seeing right now in CJ Smash, I mean, you got your work cut out. And you mentioned D-Mac. I mean, you certainly have your work cut out for you. I mean, maybe I changed my mind. Maybe you are an underdog after all.
Yeah, you remember what I told you. I'm thinking about it one day at a time, one match at a time, because every match I have right now, and this is a great thing, every match I have right now is humongous, and it's exactly what I want. I want the biggest, I want the best, I want the most exciting. I don't care if there's 1,000 people there or if there's 20. I'm going to have the match of the night because I'm taking on the absolute best for the biggest titles. It doesn't have to be the main event. The match will be the attraction. I will make it the attraction. So,
well, I think it'll be an attraction, that's for sure. No, watching the footage here, I definitely think, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be an attraction, and I hope your body will hold up. That's for sure.
I'll make it hold up. I got a lot of ibuprofen.
I actually know a little bit about that because I had that for my hand, but that only goes so far. It only goes so far. But listen, you got your work cut out for you. But 3BW, I'm really excited about the show, and I know Mr. Wakefield is going to talk about that in a few weeks. And just looking at this footage here, I mean, I'm with you. Dominant. It doesn't matter if it's underground, pro, backyard, independent, whatever it is. I mean, you got some high quality talent here, and he just took a fan favorite and just brushed him to the side. I mean,
made him look like a loser. You see it right there.
Well, I mean, that's the point. But if you do want to see some more content like this and see more of CJ Smash, I do have a YouTube link for people. So if you'd like, which I'd highly recommend, you follow some of that content, which you can on the Clayton Cross YouTube channel. You can also go here, which I have this link, which is got a multitude of videos, and find more of it there to get ready for what's ahead of you. And that'll take place in a month from now. It'll be 1 month from this weekend. So we'll talk a lot about that. And there's one link for you. And then we're going to show it to you on the screen. And Rad Dad's matches, it may not have a lot of them coming up, but they all mean something. So they're all meaningful matches. There's no throwaways here.
No. And this entire event, even though it's a 2-day event with, honestly, it could be over a dozen. It could be like 18, 19 matches by the time it's all said and done. I really don't know. It's all going to be available on YouTube. Everyone's going to be able to see it because they're very proud of their work. Even the people who haven't wrestled in years.
We say it all the time. I know Copper was here in the chat, but I mean, as you guys should, because of what you guys did for wrestling, for backyard wrestling. We know the lineage of the GBYWN and so many of these different companies and what they meant, and so many wrestlers today still influenced by it. So as you guys should, you should definitely be proud of what you did.
Absolutely. I've said this a million times. We never thought of backyard wrestling as a location. We thought of it as a style, because I've been told, I've had professionals come up and say like, oh, that guy wasn't very good. Is he a backyard wrestler? Not like you, not what you did. Backyard wrestling. And I'm like, I did do backyard wrestling, but they're like, no, that's happened to me before, where they're like, no, what you did was different. And I'm like, well, we treated it like it was a style, like it was something to. I think
you guys, and I see Copper. I know Jovi was here at some point. He'll pop back in, and some others. I think because what you guys did was the time you put into it, the effort, and how you took it, the dedication. And I think that's why it was so successful and why so many guys looked at it. And to me, I always make the comparison of what you guys did. It was almost like here in New York City, basketball on the playgrounds meant something. People wouldn't go, oh, playground. No, it was like that's where people came out to watch. You guys, in your own way, were kind of like playground basketball. Whether it was Rucker Park, whether it was in Coney Island, whether it was in the Wyckoff houses, whatever it was, West 4th Street Park, whatever it was across the city, going to the Bronx, wherever it might have been. It was the same way. People came out and you were playing in a schoolyard or a playground or a park, whatever it was, but it was high caliber stuff. And I think that's what you guys all did. I mean, Eric's gonna be there, by the way. He'll be there next month. Thank you, Eric, for your support on that. And definitely keep in touch. And Copper said it best. There was so many great times and so many great names. I think that's why to this day it holds up. And that's why, you guys, for what you did, we're going to be talking about it 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now.
Absolutely. We really thought of it as punk rock. Like if the comparison I always used was like if independent wrestling was like a Stephen King novel, you kind of know what you're going to get. The prose are perfect. The wording's perfect. It's exactly, it's the same formula most times, that kind of thing. Where, our style of backyard wrestling was like the weirdest, mind-blowing, like Sonic the Hedgehog fan fiction you ever heard. Where you're like, what am I even reading? This is crazy. Right. It was stuff that it's not perfect or anything, but it's just so different and interesting and fun.
Right. That's
what we were doing.
And the settings that you guys had to be able to pull off what you did. I think that's what made it so interesting, so unique. You guys weren't the typical backyard wrestling that some may have seen on here. You guys, there was something, exciting and something different and something very special about it. And I think that's why we're excited about the show here coming up next month. And Chase Wakefield undoubtedly will talk about that. I was curious, and speaking of special days, and today is a birthday of one individual who you have quite a history with. And that is a man who is legendary and does have a YouTube championship that he has made legendary in the TF Crew. And that's a guy who the last time he defended that championship had defeated a WWE champion. And the time before that went up against a world famous cheeseburger and got past him, and a guy that's been in Ring of Honor, has a dojo, Japan, and a man that you have been in a ring with. And I did want to remind you of the birthday of the Puerto Rican prince, Angel Santiago, the leader of the syndicate, the TF Crew champion. And did you want to wish Angel Santiago by any chance a happy birthday?
Hey, Angel Santiago. Hey, kid. I heard you're a year older. That's a whole another year to learn, experience things, to improve your attitude, behavior, skills. I just hope you learn something this year, kid. I hope you grow as a person, maybe a more humble person. I don't know what's coming up in your future and over the next year, but, well, actually, I do know one thing. I know who your number one contender is. It's the same guy that almost beat you with 100-degree fever, 103 degrees, by the way.
Yeah, I remember that.
This time, hold on, got my vape cool right here.
All right.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty healthy now.
You feel good?
I'm pretty good.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
My mouth's a little numb now, but that's okay.
It's pretty good. Time.
Angel, I'm going to give you a gift that only a stepdad, only a step-parent could give you. And that is introspection, reflection, a little bit of humble pie. The next time we meet in the ring, and it will happen soon, I'm going to give you that reflection. I'm going to have you go home empty-handed, wondering what lays before your future. because you go up and up and up and up and up and up and up. Everything's been amazing over 1,000 days. I didn't become the champion by being a winner all the time. It was getting up and overcoming my losses that made me truly a champion. Digging myself out of the holes that I'd buried myself in. Getting my back off the wall that I'd been backed up into. And Angel Santiago has never had that. You can't go to the true mountaintop without knowing what it means to fall. And I'm going to help you learn what it means to fall so that someday, maybe, you'll be an even greater champion with some humility. I'm going to say right now, Tom Bryce,
Wow.
You're looking at the next TF Crew World YouTube Champion. I never gave up on that dream. The first time he and I wrestled, we went to a draw. I believe in my heart if we continued that night, I would have walked out.
You wanted 5 more minutes. It didn't happen.
The second time we wrestled, it was my third match in 48 hours with 103-degree fever, and I still almost won. Next time, I will climb to the top of the TF Crew mountain, and I will wave that flag proudly. Angel Santiago can have his record of being the 1,000+ day champion. He can hold his hat on that. But I'm going to be the man that beat the 1,000-day title holder. And that means a little more to me right now. Because I only got 3 belts. And the whole thing we were talking about was who is the better champion. Angel Santiago has beaten some of the best. Everybody that's come his way. But what happens when somebody beats him? I'd say that makes me the best.
It hasn't happened yet.
And Angel Santiago doesn't have the humility to be able to go to bed any night after our match and not think, I wasn't as good as Rad Dad that one time. And that will drive him nuts. That is the kind of thing that falling and getting back up and overcoming obstacles would prevent you to do. Because you'd have some grit. You'd understand that you don't always win. But you don't understand that because you think you do always win. You think you're going to win forever. You're not. Mike Tyson, Goldberg, Angel Santiago, glorious title reigns, and then one loss, and they never really recovered. Years later, decade later, they never really recovered, did they? But guys like me, hey, we got that Rocky story. I could lose 1,000,000 times. But I can win 1,000,001 times. I can get back up and I can be the comeback kid. I don't know if Angel Santiago can do that. Happy birthday, Angel Santiago. I hope it's really rad.
Well, I mean, I guess happy birthday, Angel Santiago, but that was certainly a mouthful that Rad Dad Radley Belmont said about the TF Crew World YouTube Champion. And obviously, I'm sure Angel Santiago will return to Sportswire at some point to talk about some of these things that Rad Dad did have to say. And Rad Dad has talked about being a champion and the champion of the underground. He's talked about we got the GBYWN championship, we got the Map Pro Wrestling Grand Championship, and he still has that TF Crew World YouTube Championship in his sights. But right now, it's Angel Santiago that has been legendary with that, and the men that he's defeated. And at this point, I mean, Angel Santiago, I mean, he's even said that he would take it against AEW guys next and Impact Wrestling guys. I mean, he said basically if he, once he had defeated Aaron Rourke, there's really almost nothing left for him to prove and accomplish. So I guess he'll talk about that when that day comes here on Sportswire. And obviously we wish him a very, very happy birthday. I know Rad sort of in his own way did that, but Rad, I got to ask you before I bring it back to a few final things. You've been pretty busy in your own right being this social media influencer, because you not only surpassed 10,000 followers, you surpassed 11,000, 12,000, and you've got your wrestling history, which I find very fascinating. And let's talk about it.
Absolutely. I'd love to. Side note, I just thought about this while you're talking. TF Crew is having an interpromotional match at Matt Pro Wrestling. No Angel Santiago, huh? Not gonna represent the company or anything, huh?
Well, he doesn't need to, because he doesn't need to.
It would be interesting to see a title defense at Matt Pro. Maybe a unification match? I don't know.
I think Angel's going to be partying all weekend. I think he and Jimmy Controversy are in South Beach right now with the women. I mean, Jimmy's not going to. He's got.
If Jimmy's there, the women aren't. That's not.
Well, Jimmy's got one these days. I mean, Angel.
Yeah, exactly. He's taken somehow.
He is. Well, and he certainly went above his weight class. I think we could all agree on that.
Absolutely, a lovely lady.
A very lovely lady, but Mr. Santiago is going to be partying. I mean, forget about Diddy and those freak-offs. Angel Santiago is going to basically take over there. I mean, who knows what those two guys are going to be doing over there in South Beach. So that's why he's not going to be there coming up on Sunday. I mean, I'm with you. I would love to see Angel Santiago in the ring coming up from Matt Pro Wrestling, but he's going to be partying for a 3-day birthday celebration. That's what he has said to us. So, but I'm with you. I would have loved to have seen him defend that championship, but I would love to talk about this wrestling history. Yes. These videos you have.
So as I've told you in the past, I was trying really hard to drum up a bunch of support to get this show launched. The idea came last December because I'm a big believer that, a great social media community is really important. I think there's a lot of great wrestlers that do that kind of thing. If you ever look up Big Ben Bishop, I love what he does online. I know Big Ben Bishop very well. There's a couple other folks like that I really enjoy. So for me, what's the one thing I can't stop doing when I'm around wrestling fans is talk about wrestling trivia and wrestling history. There's so many interesting tidbits, unique, weird, unexpected tidbits and factoids about pro wrestling that always grip me, that I really wanted to start throwing to my audience to show them that I'm a fan like them, that I love this sport just as much as they do. And there's a lot of great camaraderie in just learning about pro wrestling. Not only that, but I'm told by many people that I only watch AEW, I only watch WWE. I don't really know about 90s wrestling. People that said I haven't watched since WCW ended. That it's like there's so many people there. The cutoff is so different. So I try to grab all audiences. My trivia is mostly from the 80s and 90s, maybe into the 2000s. There is some.
Well, the WWE being around more than WWF was. That was one of your most recent ones. So you did
that would be a recent factoid, absolutely, from this year. But I always try to find the most gripping, most interesting things, and they go about 90 seconds. I try to make them about. If you ever seen WC, what is it called? There's one called WCW Deep Cuts. They talk about factoids from WCW. I absolutely love that format, and it shows my personality. I'm a pretty corny guy, clearly. I have a lot of energy going at you and stuff. I got my microphone right there, and I just like to sit on the couch like a stepdad do, and give you some random information, anything, from the local independents all the way to
How
the
about
WrestleMania
Triple H? You
package.
brought up Triple H's only appearance on WCW pay-per-view. I mean, that
Absolutely.
was a big one.
There's so many. So, folks, if you haven't seen Rad Dad Wrestling history, imagine things like the history of the WCW Women's Cruiserweight Championship. What is that? Well, let me tell you about it. It literally has never appeared on Nitro, but did exist for an entire year. Triple H, his only pay-per-view appearance for WCW. Is Virgil undefeated at WrestleMania? You're going to find out if you watch. Is Mr. Perfect a former WWE United States champion? You'll find out.
And then you brought up, is he undefeated at WrestleMania? I think that was one of your other trivia
yes.
questions.
See, yeah, and that's the fun of it. There's multiple different formats I use where sometimes I ask you, is this fact or fiction? And I give you a 5-second countdown so you yourself can figure it out before I give you the answer. I have guest hosts on the show all the time.
Our friend Tony Cheney.
Tony Cheney was
Who,
one of my
also
favorites.
recovering from an injury, certainly.
Yes, the injury right after my match with Big Billy Gold, unfortunately. But they did win the championships, the TF Crew tag team titles. But yeah, he was kind enough to send me one of those, as well as Ryan Ragnarok, or Ref Jeff from Matt Pro Wrestling, sent me an interesting one about Jushin Thunder Liger's only maybe WWE match, because there's a second WWE match that might count. Interesting stuff like that. If you don't know, if you're like, oh, I don't really know anything about Jushin Liger, or I've never seen Jushin Liger, or maybe you're the other way where you're like, when was Jushin Liger in WWE? Well, you find out in 90 seconds. And I love that kind of stuff. I have many, many more that I could throw. It's on this phone right here. I got a whole bunch set up for the future. It's, you wouldn't even believe it.
You were talking about it before. You were gonna do it when you came on here last, but these videos, they appear, I would say, like maybe twice a week or so, at least a couple times a week, and I always try to watch them. I always try to share them, or at least watch through them, because they are really thought provoking. I mean, they're certainly not Gabe's white people's food videos. I mean, they're certainly not that, or now Gabe's latest thing now, which is the Pokemon craze, and then you're not doing the card breaking craze like the Cheenies are with Ice Tea cards. It's definitely thought provoking. And by the way, we certainly love what the Cheenies do, their Instagram lives, though. Gabe and the white people's food, as a white person, I think you can sort of maybe relate to. I've never actually had some of these foods that Gabe has been serving. Some of these individuals.
Never had White Castle either, so
I haven't had White Castle. Neither of you, and apparently all these people's foods. I mean, I think I'm white. You might be white, and I haven't had them. So maybe, but nevertheless, these videos that you've been putting out there, we all can agree, seem to be pretty thought provoking.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. It's really jumped up my numbers, and people love the factoids. I started by doing 2 a week for a few weeks, just to prove to people, like, this is going to be an ongoing thing. Do not think that this is a one and done kind of deal. So I put up a couple a week for a little while. Now it's every Monday at 3 p.m. because I want everyone to be able to see every episode and know they saw it, so the next week they can see it again.
I think this coming Monday, now I actually will be on time for that. These last several Mondays with my hand injury and other things, I haven't been around at 3 o'clock. Now I will be around at 3 o'clock, so I'm going to keep that in mind.
I assumed it was because you couldn't count your fingers to see what time it was because of the cast.
Well, that too, and also I couldn't grip anything. I mean, with a hand cast, you can't. I'm in a hard cast, you can't do anything. I mean, not that my hand's great now, but at least I can, I can hold the phone and do the whole thing again. So, I'll be there at 3 o'clock Eastern time, which you'll see these on Instagram and Facebook because they cross post each other. So if you're on one or the other, check them out. And that's the Instagram page of Rad Dad. We're going to give Rad Dad something here in a few minutes. And that's where you can see some of this content. Also, YouTube, we put the YouTube up. He's on TikTok. So please make sure you join Rad Dad and join on all these videos. They are very thought-provoking. And I enjoy them because there is actually some really cool content. But, before I come back to some final thoughts on Matt Pro Wrestling, I understand you might be going somewhere that maybe our audience may want to know about.
Oh, let me tell you. I got a little surprise. So, as I mentioned before, I've wrestled for over 40 promotions in independent wrestling. I'm very proud of that number. All across the Northeast and New England as one half of the Stepdads. And I don't know if I've ever told the origin of the Stepdads on here. If I did, I'll be very quick about it. But in 2016, Papa Bear Wade Kruger and I were both feeling pretty down about where we were in the independents, even though we'd only been in about a year. It just didn't feel like we were really being ourselves and being able to showcase what we can do. And we figured something needed to change. And maybe it was in the idea of forming a tag team. I always loved tag team wrestling. I still love tag team wrestling so much. When I come out and I defend my titles, I'm still called one half of the Stepdads during the introductions because so for me it is always going to be a thing. I'm one half of the Stepdads even when I'm in singles competition. But we were at a Pro Wrestling Magic event in October of 2016, watching the event, and we saw a lot of great names that night. The main event was JD Dunn versus Keith Lee. First time I ever saw Keith Lee in person. Fantastic match. He did a swanton dive onto a whole roster of people.
Keith Lee got watered down. Yep.
Yeah, it was so amazing, and that was Keith Lee in his prime for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
But during that show, we saw the Pro Wrestling Magic Tag Team Championships being defended, and literally one of the challengers, I believe it was a 4-way tag, could have been a 3-way, either way. One of the challengers was a team called Massage NV, 2 guys who were oil massage therapists, physical therapists, and one would oil the other one's back and then literally run and slide.
I'm not going to be going to them for physical therapy when I start that next week. Oh. They won't be on my list. I'll make sure.
Well, unfortunately, they're no longer a tag team, but they were a hot commodity for a couple of years, and I absolutely loved them. I never seen them before that night, and I said, "See, Wade, look at them. Even though they're massage therapists, they're showing what they love and doing what they love, and they're using that to their advantage, you know." And I said, we're always like, oh yeah, you guys act like dads, you got your kids, you're always talking about your kids, you're always doing dad jokes, you always, you got the dad bods, and I heard that dad all the time, not just at my house, but other people. They're like, I bet you have kids, don't you? And I'm like, yeah, I have stepkids. And, that was always a common thing. And I said, Wade, why don't we team up as the Stepdads? Why don't we just embrace what we are? And he absolutely agreed. And it was in November. 1 month later, we debuted in Warriors of Wrestling as the Stepdads. And history was made. We wrestled guys like Mr. Grimm and Sonny Kiss and Dickie Moon and Alex Raymond, former Pro Wrestling Magic World Champion, and all these different people. But it was that night at Pro Wrestling Magic that ignited that for us. And so it was a big goal to me to be a part of Pro Wrestling Magic one day. Fast forward a little bit to 2018, and we were about to be booked for a Pro Wrestling Magic show. It would have been a big gauntlet match. And at the 11th hour, they said, we had to take you off the show. We had to take you out of the gauntlet. And I was like, man, why? Like, I've always wanted to go to Pro Wrestling Magic. Why? And this is what they said. They said, well, we had to replace you two with Nunzio and Hornswoggle. And I said, oh, I understand. The 2 former WWE Cruiserweight champions are on the show. All right, cool. So, and we were there that night. We decided to come and help anyway. We were there that night. And during the night, I believe, if I remember right, I think Pinky Sanchez grabbed somebody and told us to put our boots up and threw a wrestler into both our feet into the crowd. They went right into the crowd to make sure so he's like, there, you kind of wrestled for Pro Wrestling Magic tonight. And he took him back. That was very nice. But our goal still eluded us, and it was last year as Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion that I got the amazing opportunity to finally wrestle a Pro Wrestling Magic match. And like I said, I was announced as actually, I wasn't expecting this, but their phenomenal ring announcer said.
Yes.
He said one half of the legendary tag team known as the Stepdads. I was like, wow, you really put it in there, buddy.
Yes, I actually do know the ring announcer at Pro Wrestling Magic. He has been in my streams a few times. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Phenomenal man. He was there the night we won our very first tag team titles as a fan before he was a ring announcer. And he drove all the way to where were we? Berwick, Pennsylvania, something like that.
Okay. I know exactly where it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he had to drive.
Oh, yeah. He drove a couple hours for sure.
For sure.
He probably drove farther than we did to get there. But and so I've never been ring announced by him, and he finally got the ring announced me Pro Wrestling Magic. It was a great moment. But it was just a one and done. I was just there to do the interpromotional match, and my tag partner Wade didn't have a match, unfortunately. He was there, but he didn't have a match. So this is a long story, but it's been a long journey, and that's why I am proud to announce that on May 16th, the Stepdads, for the very first time ever, will officially debut for Pro Wrestling Magic.
Whoa! Ladies and gentlemen, oh, heck yeah! Welcome to the Datitude Era with the Stepdads. Finally, after 10 long years nearly, are coming to Pro Wrestling Magic 5 weeks from this weekend coming up. Oh, heck yeah! May 16th can't come any sooner, and boy, if you thought Rad Dad wasn't going to be busy coming up, not so fast. We talked plenty about this weekend coming up, and we know what's on the line. We talked a little bit about 3BW. We even threw in a few things about TF Crew and the birthday boy, Angel Santiago. But May 16th, the Stepdads have finally come to Pro Wrestling Magic. And only tomorrow, Jay Lethal's going to be there, but next month, the Stepdads are going to be there. Boy, ladies and gentlemen, May 16th cannot come any sooner, but that's exactly why, Rad Dad, I want to give you something here before I get into a few final things, because you definitely have earned it, and especially after what you've done in social media these days with those videos, the wrestling history trivia that you put out there. That's why I'm putting you in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame once again for 10,000 followers. As a matter of fact, it's 11,000 followers now. It's 11,000 plus. It'll be 12,000 and 13,000 by the next time you come on here, and we'll give you that physical copy when we're off the air. And oh, heck yeah! Congratulations. We are definitely in the Datitude Era, and we'll make sure you have this.
Oh, thank you so much, Bryce. Wow. I mean, everything's been. It's been snowballing. Everything's been snowballing.
Are you meaning to say you want me to be the third wheel? I can't drive, but I can come on the road with you and Papa Bear. I don't know.
I mean, we don't need to How about like a crazy Uncle Tom or something? Uncle Bryce, not Uncle Tom, maybe Uncle Bryce.
I have an uncle, but I mean, I'm sure we'll see what Papa Bear thinks, and maybe we'll go on the road. That would certainly be, I'm sure some people want to be flies on the wall for that. But no, we'll give you the physical copy. Congratulations for that. Obviously, a lot we've talked about here, and I'm gonna go back to it because we spent most of the conversation on it. Do you have any final words before this coming Sunday for Darius Carter and Mateo Marcellos?
I mean, we've talked a lot tonight. There's so much, almost 2 hours about, the biggest year of my career and the biggest match of my career against the two biggest opponents of my singles career.
You got double vision. You figuratively, literally have double vision here coming up.
Absolutely. It's why the show is called Double Vision, because there's
notice
two obstacles in my way, one in each eye, and I gotta keep track. It's almost overwhelming, but life is like that, you know. Life is overwhelming, and there's people that hate their job, have so much stress, anxiety. They don't know how they're going to get through tomorrow. And the one thing that we all have in common is that I think all of us still get out of bed. There's something in us that just says, screw it, we got to know. We got to know if we can get through that day. I have to give absolutely everything in my being to know if I'm worth it. The last time I was in the ring with Darius Carter, I pinned him at the 42-minute mark. When I walked out to the ring, the clock started, and when they handed me that belt, the clock stopped at 42 minutes. I wrestled twice that night, back to back. When Darius came out to the ring, I was already unconscious on the mat floor. And I got up because I had to know. There's something in me that I already know what it feels like to be down. But what happens if I get up again? I got to know. What happens if I kick out again? What's going to happen? I hope everybody who has supported Matt Pro Wrestling, who supports our message of autism awareness, who has supported me in my 8 title defenses, 5 different promotions, I hope they find a way to tune in after the show or appear live. Because Matt Pro Wrestling, Ray Mars himself, and Kyle Wolf, sheriff of Matt Pro Wrestling, are looking to put on the absolute best show in the history of this company. That's not hype. That is a fact. They're putting on the best show they can possibly put on for you as a thank you for supporting them. And as a thank you for supporting me, I'm going to give you absolutely every drop of sweat, every ounce of energy I have, to where I either walk out holding the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Championship or I don't walk out at all. And either way, that means I'm going out on my terms.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've talked a lot tonight about what Rad Dad Radley Belmont has in front of him. You've heard about Darius Carter. You've heard about Mateo Marcellos. But that is what the obstacle is in front of Rad Dad Radley Belmont. In order for him to become 1 year and counting as the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion, the only way to find out if that happens is to be there coming up this Sunday for Matt Pro Wrestling's Double Vision show. You are going to have Double Vision because Rad Dad's going to be in the ring with the Darius Carter and the Mateo Marcellos. We're going to certainly find out the fallout from that. We're also going to talk about what Rad Dad Radley has in front of him in 3BW, because he's got not one but 2 opponents, and one guy might look to smack him and the other guy might look to smash him. We're going to certainly talk about whatever happens in TF Crew, where he talked about the birthday boy, Angel Santiago, and still reminded him that they're not done. We also heard, by the way, May 16th can't come any sooner because, oh, heck yeah, the stepdads are finally going to be in Pro Wrestling Magic. Plus, we've got an Instagram page that's now got over 10,000 followers that is monetized, where you're going to be seeing wrestling trivia Mondays, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And that's only scratching the surface. We're going to be talking about all of this very soon. We're very excited about what Rad Dad's going to be doing. That's why he is the number 1 contender to the TF Crew World YouTube Championship, although it's legendary because Jesus Santiago's been beating everybody with it. And he's also the GBYWN champion, and that's been over a year. And the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion, if he wins this Sunday, a year champion, and he beat Darius Carter to win that championship. Boy, we are definitely in the Datitude era, and something tells me, yeah, Rad Dad might be right, because when we talk about him in 2 months, it'll probably be the biggest match of his career, and every other time he comes on, it's always the biggest match. And we've talked plenty about that, and obviously I could talk with you more, but you've got to get ready for Sunday. And I want to pass the baton to you and give you some closing thoughts and anything else you want to plug, share, or say. Champ, the floor is yours.
I appreciate that, Tom. I mean, we talked a lot of tough stuff tonight. I feel like the one thing I definitely want to get,
even your stepdaughter, we brought up about how she calls you champ, and you didn't want to let her down. That's also what's on the line here. You don't want to let your stepdaughter down here. And if you come home Sunday night empty-handed, you're going to be letting her down.
Believe me, that's going to be in the back of my head for a while tonight. We'll see how long it takes for me to fall asleep thinking about that. It's going to be on my mind. She's going to be on my mind. Every time I get punched and kicked, it's going to be on my mind. I'm going to remember the pain is worse with what happens if I don't get up. It's a whole lot worse. Getting kicked and punched and slammed, that hurts for a little while. This is a kind of pain that can hurt a lifetime. But the other thing I want to say, the other thing I definitely want to get across is how blessed I am. The fact that I get to be champ. The fact that I get to represent the GBYWN, a once global championship that is now still being defended, against challengers who travel all over the country. That I get to wave a flag representing autism awareness to fantastic fans who want to see genuinely great professional wrestling. That Ray Mars himself was on the microphone in the ring and said that he hoped that the children in the front row saw me and were inspired and wanted to see me as a role model. And for another man to say that about me, it means the world, especially in front of his friends like that, friends and family. That means the world to me. I feel very blessed. I feel very honored. And the fact that I was at 6,000 followers in December when I wrote about, hey, I'm thinking about starting this trivia show. And here I am, 11.2 thousand followers in roughly 4 months. 4 months. It shows the immense interest that people have, not only in my independent career right now, but in this pursuit of social media content that is Rad Dad's Wrestling History that will continue every Monday for the rest of the year. It's given me a new audience of wrestling fans that, even if they don't love me, they love my work. Even if they don't watch my matches, they love my content, and vice versa. Being able to communicate and create a community with so many people around the world. I mean, I have people in other parts of the world that say good morning at like 7 p.m. at night. And I go, good morning back, I love that. I absolutely love that. I had a guy from Italy I was talking to earlier, and how much he liked my wrestling at GTS and was now watching Matt Pro Wrestling. And that was amazing to me, that Matt Pro is just being watched by some guy somewhere in Italy, who may never be able to see the shows live, but still loves the performance, loves the wrestlers so much that he takes the time to watch a wrestling show on the other side of the planet. I don't take that lightly. And so for anybody who has taken that time, who has watched those videos, have liked and shared, every like and share, I don't look at it as being some sort of rich content guy. I don't want to be a Mr. Beast or anything like that. I just want to give fans something that they like. And what I make is stuff that I would want to watch. The way I wrestle is the way I would want my favorite wrestler to wrestle. And the more I see these numbers go up, I don't care about the money. Yeah, the account's monetized. I'm not making bank. I'm going to be honest. I'm not
aware
making...
I'm monetized on YouTube and Facebook. I know, I can imagine what you're making. It's not a lot. I know.
But it's not about that. It's the fact that I am monetized because so many people care.
Right.
That's what matters to me. And I don't want to let those people down. I don't ever want to have a bad match. I don't ever want to have a disappointing title defense. I don't want to lose the championship, to someone undeserving. I want these people to get what they deserve and what they've earned. And that is all of me that I can give. Great matches, the best promos, straight from the heart, content that I care about, that you care about. That's what I want to give to the world now. And at least right now, we're living in the Daditude era, Tom, because people are loving it. The numbers are up. I'm getting messages every day. They're saying awesome content. They're saying I'm excited to see you wrestle. I'm coming to the show. I'm going to be in the yard. I'm going to see you defend the GBYWN World Championship. I'm going to see you defend the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Championship. I'm going to see you at Matt Pro Wrestling and TF Crew. I'm going to see you at Pro Wrestling Magic, 10 years in the making. And that is exactly why I do this. If I could tell that little kid that was 10 years old with the cardboard cutout championship belt, watching Goldberg crush people on Nitro every week, saying, I want to be a pro wrestler too. If I could tell that kid what Rad Dad Radley Belmont is all about right now, I would really hope that he would absolutely love it. And he would be in awe, because I'm an adult now and I'm in awe. It's humbling. And I'll never take it for granted, and that's why I love everybody. It's why I throw up the pro wrestling love, just like the great Muda used to do. People think I'm doing the Wolfpack symbol. No. It's pro wrestling love, because I want to spread that love. I want to give back as good as I get. I want to give you the love, because I'm feeling the love every single day, and I thank you for that. And you know what, Bryce? It all started with Sportswire Radio, the #1 podcast of the Rad Dad Radley Belmont.
Well, okay, that part you're BSing, but I'll tell you the rest of it you're not BSing, because we all feel that, and that's why we support you so much, and we love seeing the growth. And it's great to hear. It was emotional to hear somebody from Italy. I'm thinking about that, and I think that's really humbling. And that's a great feeling. And we want to continue those feelings before we sign off by supporting Rad Dad on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, also X. It's still a thing. But please support places like Matt Pro Wrestling. Please support companies like TF Crew, Pro Wrestling Magic, 3BW, whatever else is out there of the GBYWN. And please support that content, because that's where we can get more people, more eyes on that prize, and support those who support us. Rad has been so generous with his time each and every time he is here. So please support him. And we are very excited about his matches coming up here. One more time, this Sunday, Double Vision. He'll be putting up that Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Championship against Mateo Marcelos and Darius Carter. He'll be in action the following month, 3BW. He'll be wrestling not once but twice. We'll see if he keeps that GBYWN championship for the second against CJ Smash. Talked plenty about him. May 16th, Stepdad's finally debut in Pro Wrestling Magic. And you're going to see wrestling content Mondays, 3 p.m., Instagram and Facebook, Pro Wrestling Trivia. You've got to support Rad Dad. You got to support those companies. My friend, cannot wait to watch the match here coming up this Sunday. Cannot wait to talk about it. I am sure Angel Santiago, though, will want to talk about some of the things you said here down the road. And I am also sure the American Muscle Shark, Mark the Shark, will certainly want to talk about a few of the things we did bring up on the screen in the past. And I'm sure Jimmy Controversy didn't see this episode because he's in South Beach partying with somebody he's taken with. And Angel Santiago will get wind of this. And we'll see about Gabe Sayers and how he is these days. But nevertheless, cannot wait to see what you do. Definitely congratulations and all the success. And you're putting a lot of pressure on me now because you say every time you come on here, it's because of Sportswire that you've gotten bigger and bigger. You really just no pressure, but we'll see. Hopefully my hand can have a little pressure by the next appearance you come on here. But nevertheless, definitely looking forward to it. Congratulations on all the success. Good luck. And I look forward to talking about some of this content and watching it with you in, I guess, the next 2 months or whatever else you come on as your usual spot.
Absolutely. I mean, you know me. I'll be back. Same Rad Dad time, same Rad Dad channel. We'll talk more with Double Belt Radley.
We got Double Vision. That's one of my mom's favorite singers is Lou Graham of Foreign. She keeps telling me, when am I getting Lou Graham on Sportswire? When am I getting Lou Graham? I'm like, I'm trying. But I had Rad Dad on, who will have Double Vision, though, this Sunday. And as I said, he'll be wrestling Darius Carter, arguably the greatest wrestler not to have been the major companies, and a guy, Mateo Marcelos, who ain't too bad in his own right. But Rad Dad will tell him why he's bad for the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Championship alongside Darius Carter this coming Sunday afternoon for Matt Pro Wrestling. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce here, your voice figuratively and literally with all music and all wrestling matters. If you're here on Sportswire Radio, yes, you can look at Rad Dad's muscles, but tomorrow night I'll be here with the EWA guys and Johnny Velocity. They'll have an announcement. Thank you so much, everybody. And until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio.